Broadcasting live from the mountains of Montana, get ready for an hour of pure, unapologetic conservative talk radio. Liberals beware, because this is the Wise Conservative Show.
Hello and welcome to episode 122 of the Wise Conservative Show. I am your host, Connor Wise. So in this episode, we're going to be covering a wide range of different issues that's been going on within politics and within the Democratic Party. And it's such a wide range of things and such differing opinions that really brings the topic of this episode. And that's the fact that the left in general, which is good for us, the left in general has become very divided between people calling for violence, people calling for peaceful protests still. There's still that divide. You have people who are just going off topic constantly, from Elizabeth Warren to Ocasio-Cortez, and you have the people who will do anything, violence included, to get their opinion out there. The Democratic Party is falling apart. A while back on this show, way back at the beginning, we talked about how the GOP looked like it was going to have like this schism, how it was going to have this split in opinions. And to be fair, this was before the 2016 election. This was during the primaries, actually. It really looked like the GOP was the party that was going to have this split in ideology, this split in tactics. But out of nowhere, Donald Trump came up and the GOP kind of united around him, establishment and anti-establishment. And now we have one of the most unified GOPs that we've seen in a very long time, probably since Ronald Reagan. Yeah, there's some disagreements a little bit that here and there in terms of foreign policy or domestic issues. But altogether, we still support each other, and the GOP seems to be a very good political force going into the midterms. There's a cohesive strategy in terms of campaigning among Republican candidates. Now, when you look at the Democratic Party, way back then, it looked as if the Democratic Party was going to be the political powerhouse going into the future. It looked as if they were going to stay united while the GOP kind of split. But we were very wrong back then, because the Democratic Party has really kind of shifted its ideology part way. So what that means is part of the Democratic Party, including some of the leadership, has gone to this extremist point of view. This point of view where they want the violence, where they want the incivility, where they want these radical socialist programs. And then you still have the people that are still trying to be moderate and trying to be the old Democratic Party. You see, that split in ideology, that split in tactics didn't come to the Republican Party, but instead to our friends on the left. And I mentioned before, they're having a hard time trying to stay on topic as the midterms approach, and I could not find anyone better to represent the straying of the topic that they want to stay on than Elizabeth Warren. I'm sure you've heard by now, Elizabeth Warren just came out this past week. She was bragging about her DNA test, claiming that it was proof that she's Native American. She finally has proof for it, guys. Pocahontas finally has the proof that she's Cherokee. And she tweeted this out, and she was all proud of herself. She said that Donald Trump promised he donated $1 million to a charity if she proved that she was Native American, and she proved it from this DNA study. Donald Trump has to donate that money now. She was very proud of it, thinking that she just won every single political argument in the world with this. But then when you look at the results, and I'm kind of wondering if she did, based on how she reacted, there is basically there's no chance that she's actually enough to be qualified as Native American for any tribe. She had a Native American ancestor dating back to, and there was a little bit of leeway here, it was dating back from 6 to 10 generations. So she would be on the most giving her the most leeway, saying that she definitely has the earliest ancestor possible. She would be 164th Native American. But if you go towards what's more likely, she's 1024th Native American, which according to many studies is less than the average European American. So Elizabeth Warren has claimed to be Cherokee, and that's what she's been going on for all these years, as you know. The Cherokee Nation actually came out and issued a statement accusing her of, quote, undermining tribal interests with her continued claims of tribal heritage. And of course, President Trump never passes up an opportunity. He seized on that statement, calling her a phony just yesterday, and urged Elizabeth Warren to apologize. Warren strongly denied that she was trying to claim tribal affiliation, and all along has denied using claims of Native American ancestry to advance her career from Harvard to other universities and institutions that she's worked at. But when you actually look at what's happened, there is a lot of evidence that her claiming to be a minority in the past, which she admitted to doing, actually did help her get hired. There's a lot of reports in the past, including this one from 2012. The Boston Herald reported that her Native American heritage was once touted by the embattled Harvard Law School officials, who cited her claim as proof of their faculty's diversity. The article cited decades-old diversity records kept by Harvard. The Washington Post also reported that the University of Pennsylvania identified Warren as a minority, citing UPenn's 2005, quote, Minority Equity Report. The Boston Globe further reported that Warren was listed as a minority professor in the Association of American Law Schools directory for 9 years, while she taught at the University of Texas and the University of Pennsylvania. Now, during all of this, Elizabeth Warren lied to people, and she denied knowledge of how she became identified as a minority. But then she later, as we all know, acknowledged that she identified herself as Native American to both Harvard and the University of Pennsylvania after she was hired, she claims. And both her and her aides have repeatedly said that it played no role in her hiring. But when you actually look at the facts, it seems as if it did play a role, just with the basis of them bragging about having this minority professor at their institute. So Republicans are now attacking her constantly about this, of course, because she's not Native American, even though she's going to continue to claim it in the future, and she tried to prove that 1/1024th, let me do the math for you guys real quick. Let me do this to get that into a percentage. Let's see. That's that's 0.09%. 0.09% Native American. And she's claiming that proves that she's this ultimate Native American figure, that Donald Trump was wrong and he should apologize for attacking her all these years. She's crazy. She's claiming onto something that isn't true, and she's going to continue to cling on to this for the rest of her political career. But here's where the party's division really shows. A former campaign manager for Obama blasted Warren for distracting from the crucial midterm races. He said, quote, argue the substances all you want, but why 22 days before a crucial election where we must win House and Senate to save America? Why did Senator Warren have to do her announcement now? Why can't Dems ever stay focused? And I'm happy that Dems can't stay focused. Elizabeth Warren is a prime example of it, because it's just distracting from the midterms that are coming up very quickly. They're on November 6th. That's coming up very quickly. And Elizabeth Warren is now touting the fact that she's a Native American, and it's helping Republicans quite a bit, because we've seen in late polls, the most recent ones, saying that Republicans have a surge in interest for voting. Republicans are having this late surge, while Democrats are kind of just staying kind of average. They don't really have any passion behind who they're voting for. It was shown in the primaries with the amount of people turning out, and it's shown now. Democrats are less motivated to get out to the polls in the midterms. Republicans are going to win this election by far. I'm calling it, and I've called it for months now. It's going to be a red wave. It's not going to be a blue wave. Democrats are still hoping for this blue tsunami, this blue wave, whatever they're going to be calling it this next week. But it's not going to happen, especially when you have people like Elizabeth Warren claiming to be Native American when she's 0.09% Native American. It's just crazy. But sticking on the message of Democrats kind of being violent lately, I talked about this quite a bit last week, I believe, with the threats that Hillary Clinton and Eric Holder put out there saying that they need to be incivil towards Republicans and attack them and all of that. You know, the same threats that Waters has put out time after time. Well, a letter was sent to the home of Senator Susan Collins, who, if you don't remember, voted to confirm Kavanaugh during that nomination process, even though Democrats were counting on her vote to get Kavanaugh not appointed. She had a letter sent to her home, which threatened her and what was written on it, and also then claimed that there was ricin in the letter as well. So the entire thing became a criminal investigation. It's still unclear who sent the letter and why. Well, why? Because they're some crazy extremist in the Democratic Party. But we definitely know that critics have hurled threats constantly at Collins after her vote to confirm Kavanaugh. We know that that people have really been angry at her and been violent towards her, and this isn't the first incident of people being violent towards those who voted to confirm Kavanaugh. Her spokesperson tweeted out late Monday night that the envelope incident was the latest in a series of threats against Senator Collins, her loved ones, and her staff. Now, an independent senator who actually voted against Kavanaugh also tried to defend Susan Collins, saying, quote, regardless of any political differences, Senator Collins, her family, and her staff should not have to be subjected to these threats. There's just no place for it in our discourse. And in a statement, Collins said that she was very grateful for the immediate and professional assistance that they received from the authorities. She continued saying, quote, we are also truly appreciative of the many well wishes that we received today. Our friends and neighbors have been incredibly kind, and they have even offered to open their homes to us. We feel blessed to live in such a supportive community. Well, while her community is supportive, it seems as if the left has become unsupportive of anyone who harbors a different opinion. The left has been constantly threatening anyone on the right. The left has been constantly attacking people on the right, and this definitely isn't the first instance of violence. We had Ted Cruz in a restaurant bombarded by protesters, forced to leave. We've had people forced out of their homes. We've had homes graffitied, vandalized. Republican senators, representatives, cabinet members not being able to go to their own homes because of extremist leftists, because of these Democrats that can't seem to remain civil, that can't seem to act like you should, that are following the demands of Maxine Waters, of Eric Holder, and of Hillary Clinton to lash out against Republicans, against conservatives. These extremists are getting even worse. This isn't the first time that ricin has been sent to Republicans' houses. And of course, either last week or the week before, ricin was sent to Ted Cruz's office, to the Pentagon, and to the White House. These Democrats and these leftists are becoming extreme. they've pretty much, in some cases, like in the case of Antifa, or in some cases Black Lives Matter, these groups are becoming terrorists. They're using violence to enforce their political beliefs. That's the definition of terrorism. And they only have Democratic leaders urging them on. They have people like Hillary Clinton, Maxine Waters, Eric Holder, telling them to continue this. And it's just leading to more and more extreme results. All right, when we come back, more violence from the left and more splitting of the Democratic Party. Don't go anywhere. This is the Wise Conservative Show.
Hey everybody, Connor Wise here with an exclusive clip from the Wise Conservative Show. Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back.
And we have to continually remember that if we let the wrong people get in power, those liberties can be taken away. We have to remember that government is just a burden on the people, that it's not our savior, that it's not who gives us our rights.
People all across America are waking up and realizing that fake news isn't helping our nation. People are realizing that they don't deliver the facts, nor do they deliver the truth. The fake news era is coming to an end, and that's exactly why Patriot News Radio was created. On Patriot News Radio, you have a wide selection of conservative talk hosts, including myself, with the Wise Conservative Show. Patriot News Radio streams 24/7 on TuneIn Radio, so you can just go to the app or to the website and stream it. Also, if you have a Google Home device, all you have to do is say, "Hey Google, play Patriot News Radio," and there you have it, Patriot News Radio, right in your own home. Patriot News Radio delivers you the facts and the truth 24/7. Patriot News Radio, where America comes to talk.
Ever wanted to learn the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in less than 10 minutes? Are you looking for the truth about the so-called gender wage gap? Well, my friends, I'll let you in on a little secret. Prager University is a source that I use all the time when preparing for my show, the Jason Veely Program. Dennis Prager and his team have put together a remarkable organization that seeks to explain and spread Americanism through the power of the internet. Their short yet extremely informative videos reach more than 100 million people per year, and they want to reach you as well. Go on YouTube and type in Prager University, or go to prageru.com for all of their latest content. That's Prager, the letter U.com. prageru.com.
Are you having trouble getting a merchant account? Maybe you need an international payment gateway, or you just got rejected by another merchant account provider. No problem. iPayTotal wants your business. Our high-risk merchant accounts allow you to accept all major credit and debit cards. Our Moto payment gateway allows accepting transactions on the phone. iPayTotal delivers payment solutions and products to help grow your business. Contact us now for your payment processing at iPayTotal.com. iPayTotal, your online payments partner.
Calling all young conservatives. Have you ever wanted to write for an online publication? What about host your own conservative radio program? Now you can, thanks to YouthRevolt.org. Youth Revolt is a conservative media network for young people, the goal of which is to educate our fellow Americans, and also to expose the left-wing indoctrination that goes on in classrooms across the country. Become part of a team that is dedicated to taking the country back, one radio program or opinion column at a time. If you're interested, go to YouthRevolt.org and click on Join Us on the top of the page. Fill out our brief questionnaire, and one of our representatives will be in touch with you in no time at all. The time to reclaim our future is now. Be a part of something that's bigger than yourself. and join the movement today. Youth Revolt. Speak without fear.
A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There are people in this nation that would have you give up your rights, that would have you turn in your guns. We have these people who are in office, we have these people who are marching in our streets that are walking out of their schools. People who think that your right is not important. On the Wise Conservative Show, we know that your rights matter, and we will tell you the truth about your liberties. We will tell you the truth about all the issues happening and the facts around all of these debates. For your daily dose of conservatism, for your daily dose of the facts and the truth. Tune into the Wise Conservative Show every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on Youth Revolt.
Welcome back to the Wise Conservative Show. I'm your host, Connor Wise. So Dianne Feinstein, in the midst of the upcoming midterm elections, just had a debate against her challenger. Now, if you don't know, in the California primary system, it's the top two, and I've talked about it before, but it's a weird system. The top two vote receivers, regardless of party, move on to the general election. So in terms of this election for senator, between Dianne Feinstein and her challenger, it's two Democrats. Well, she's facing a state senator, Kevin De Leon, who's also a Democrat, as I just said. And they just had a debate, and there was one issue that kind of was strange that they talked about. So Dianne Feinstein renewed calls for sexual misconduct investigations into Kavanaugh during the debate. She said, quote, "I'd be in favor of opening an investigation into the allegations." And then her challenger, who doesn't typically agree with Dianne Feinstein on a lot of things, agreed with her, saying that it would be a great thing to do and that he supports reopening an investigation into Kavanaugh as well. Now, of course, this is all coming as Feinstein is coming under fire for releasing Dr. Ford's allegations to the public, even though Ford wanted them to remain confidential. And if you didn't know, last month, Senator Tom Cotton, a Republican from Arkansas, said that Feinstein's office is being investigated to determine whether or not it leaked Ford's letter to the press, saying, quote, "They have betrayed her. She has been victimized by Democrats on a search and destroy mission for Brett Kavanaugh." So, this is definitely one of the main things that came out of the debate, one of the main things that I'd like to focus on. Because Democrats still are trying to attack on something that we know isn't true. And they're trying to do this, but only partially. And this is where the division comes in. Because you have some Democrats who are saying that they're not going to call for this, that they don't want to continually pursue this. And there's a lot of voters that agree with that. The majority of Democratic voters do not want this to happen. The majority of voters in general. But then you have these more extreme Democrats, Feinstein, Warren, all of these people like that want to continue these claims that have been proven false by the FBI, that have been proven false by testimonies to the Senate Judiciary Committee, that have been proven false under penalty of felony. They've been proven false a multitude of times. But Feinstein believes that this is how she's going to win her re-election, how it's going to be her that wins. She thinks that if she takes the charge on either impeaching Donald Trump or renewing these calls against Kavanaugh, that the Democratic base will get behind her. And this is how you have the extremist move of the left. Because you have all these people who used to be establishment, used to be, still establishment, but used to be the more moderate Democrats, if you can say that. Used to not go too extreme towards the left, too far over, so that moderates couldn't get into the same ideas. You have these people who are pushing themselves farther and farther left so that they can try and get more votes. You have these people who have been in Congress for far too long that are literally changing their entire belief system just so that they can get the millennial vote as well. And that's dangerous, because as we all know, the millennial vote is a very socialistic vote, a very leftist vote, an extremist vote. A vote that would choose Bernie Sanders if it could, that would pick Ocasio-Cortez. These people that have no clue how economies work, these people have no clue how to balance a budget, how everyday Americans work. These people that haven't worked a day in their lives. These socialists. And you have people like Feinstein pushing themselves further and further left as well. And this is how the Democratic Party is becoming so split, how it's becoming so extremist in a lot of cases. Because they're pandering. And yeah, every politician panders at some point. That's part of being a politician. We just expect it. But never have I seen it so extreme as what's happening in the Democratic Party lately. We have all these people becoming these socialists, these extreme socialists, and they're threatening our freedoms, threatening our liberties, and threatening our very Constitution with calls for, well, some people have called to abolish the Constitution, which is just crazy. That's a millennial thing that they've called for. You have people calling to abolish the Electoral College, people to abolish certain amendments. They have a hatred, the farther and farther left they go, they have a hatred for everything that defines America. Being innocent until proven guilty, the right to bear arms, the freedom to vote, knowing that your vote, no matter what state you're in, has a weight in the election. You see, they're directly attacking this because they know if these policies and these mentalities stay in America, that the conservative vote will win 10 out of 10 times. Because the conservative vote is the one trying to keep our liberties, trying to keep our freedoms, trying to keep everything that makes America, America. The farther and farther extreme the Democrats go, the less they want to be like America, and the more they want to be like France or like Germany, like these nations that have never been as free as America, never had the rights guaranteed like America does. So when you see Feinstein calling for this investigation, it does kind of open up your eyes to a bigger issue. Open up your eyes to the fact that they're actually calling against innocent until proven guilty. That they're actually calling against the Electoral College. That they're actually calling against our freedoms. And it's crazy the amount of Democrats that have shifted there. But there's still Democrats that are where they used to be. People like Joe Biden, who is actually calling, and this surprised me when I read it originally. Vice President Joe Biden, or former Vice President Joe Biden, said that he doesn't think Democrats should try to impeach President Trump if they win back the House of Reps after the midterm elections. Now, this isn't saying that he doesn't think Trump should be impeached at all, but he is saying that that they should wait. If they even do win back the House, which I don't see that happening. But they should wait until the Russia investigation actually has its report come out, so that they can look at the results, so that they can look at what's happening. instead of as what a lot of Democrats are trying to do, try to pursue impeachment against Donald Trump before he's been proven guilty. It's the same thing that they tried to do with Kavanaugh. They're trying to completely go around the fact that in America, you're innocent until you're proven guilty. For some reason, Democrats have a hard time understanding that little tidbit. For some reason, they think that if you're a Republican, if you're a conservative, you don't deserve that right. You don't deserve that benefit of the doubt. So when Joe Biden calls for this, you know that he's still in the old Democratic Party, and that's good for the Republican Party because Joe Biden is a very significant voice within the Democratic Party. And him calling for this might bring some of those people back to the more, less extreme Democrat Party. And if they do win control, there's going to be some very extremist policies implemented, and that's going to be bad. So someone like Joe Biden calling against the impeachment charges is a good thing. Well, I hate to agree with Joe Biden on any issue because he's definitely a Democrat, definitely a leftist, and definitely doesn't have America's interest, in his heart the way that conservatives and Republicans seem to currently. This is one time that he's actually right. We should wait for the results of this. I don't expect that there will be anything. We all know that the Russia investigation is just a giant witch hunt. So there's no reason why we shouldn't allow it to come out with the report. Just like with the Kavanaugh investigation, I was against the FBI investigation. I was against it happening. I was against this Russia investigation, still am. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't finish the investigation. I've heard Republicans calling for the Russia investigation to not have a report at its end, that it should just be ended no matter what. And I think that would be a very bad thing for Donald Trump and for the Republican Party. Because if there's not this report that's showing that Donald Trump is innocent, that there was no Russia collusion, which we all know there wasn't. We all know that it was us who voted for Donald Trump, not some Russian bots like the left claims. Well, if there's no report, then Democrats are going to always call for the impeachment of Donald Trump on the grounds of this on the grounds of this collusion with Russia. So just like with Kavanaugh, the report is actually going to help Republicans, going to help the innocence of Donald Trump, just like it helped the innocence of Brett Kavanaugh. And I can't wait for the investigation to be over. I can't wait for that report to come out and Democrats just noticing and realizing that there's nothing there. Even with someone as biased and as politically charged as Mueller, there won't be anything found. No substantial evidence will be brought up. Because there is no collusion, and we all know that. So coming up to the midterm election, a lot of the Democratic candidates are kind of wavering on whether there will be this blue wave, like they've all said. They're wavering behind what exactly is going to cause it. And a new idea was brought forth by a governor candidate, the nominee for what state? Georgia. So the Georgia governor nominee from Democrats is now coming up with new reasons as to why there will be a blue wave. So she said, quote, "But the thing of it is, the blue wave is African American, it's white, it's Latino, it's Asian Pacific Islander, it is disabled, it is differently abled, it is LGBTQ, it is law enforcement, it is veterans. It is made up of those who are told they are not worthy of being here, those who are documented and undocumented." Now that end part right there is what's causing a lot of controversy, because just like Barack Obama did, like Jerry Brown has done, it seems as if she's urging illegal immigrants to vote in the election. It sounds as if she's trying to get these illegals to vote for her, to vote for Democrats, whether it be in Georgia, in California, in Texas, whatever state. Now, of course, she's claiming, oh, no, I didn't mean that they need to vote. I'm just saying that their interests are going to be supported. But we all know that Democrats want illegal immigrants to vote because that's just more power for Democrats. They don't actually care about the livelihoods of these illegals. They don't care about the livelihoods of the poor, of the homeless, but they want their votes. So they're going to pander just like they always do. They're going to say that they should go out and vote for Democrats because they want more power. And just like Lindsey Graham said, I hope they never get it. Because this power that Democrats want is going to lead to a very bad America. A very extreme America that doesn't even resemble our freedoms or our liberties. And they want illegal immigrants to help them get there. People who aren't even U.S. citizens. We've heard Barack Obama, while he was president, call for illegal immigrants to vote. We've heard Jerry Brown, as he's been governor, call for illegal immigrants to vote. And a whole multitude of Democratic candidates and representatives, senators, elected officials calling for illegals to vote. This is another issue that Democrats seem to be extremely confused on. For some reason, they don't understand that voting in a U.S. election is a right reserved for U.S. citizens. It would make no sense to have that be a right for anyone in the world because they're not a part of the U.S. They're not protected by our rights, by our liberties, because they're not U.S. citizens. And see, this is just one in many rights that Democrats think should automatically be given to illegal immigrants. And then they go on some sob story talking about some family who, the evil Donald Trump split up the family, separated the children, and deported the dad. You know, all these emotional stories that Democrats are using to try and get these illegals to try and vote, to try and get their base to get out and vote for them. But all of these arguments, all of their reasoning behind these people being able to vote, they're always unrelated to the actual issue. They never actually say why these people should be able to vote. I mean, it's the same reason why they always argue against voter ID laws, because they want these people to be able to vote. They want illegals to vote for them. But they never say why they should be able to vote, why it's their right. They just say that they should. That they ought to voice their opinion. Because we all know that illegals are going to vote for Democrats. It all boils down to power. It always boils down to power when it comes to the Democratic Party. Whether it's letting illegals vote or welfare policies that they want to implement. They want to trap people in the Democratic Party. They want to trap the minorities to be a voter base for the Democratic Party. And we've seen it. And it's been talked about time after time from people who used to be Democrats. People who have walked away. There's so many people who are realizing that Democrats don't actually care about the everyday American, but they care about power. They care about money. They care about staying in Congress for 30, 40 years with no one voting them out. There's a reason why Democrats have never supported term limits in Congress. There's a reason why Democrats think that illegals should have every single right of U.S. citizens, including voting. And it's not because they care. It's not because they want them to have better lives. It's not because they believe in the American dream. No. It's because they want more power, more money, more guaranteed votes. And what's scary is, without voter ID laws, it's actually a possibility that some of these people can actually vote in the election. I'm going to take one last quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We have some comments from Ocasio-Cortez when we come back.
Hey everybody, Connor Wise here with an exclusive clip from the Wise Conservative Show. Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. And that's how a government should be run, folks. You can't legislate based on emotion, based on morality. You have to legislate based on the truth and the facts. It's something that Democrats seem to have struggled with, and it's something that they continue to struggle with when it comes to the immigration debate.
Ever wanted to learn the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in less than 10 minutes? Are you looking for the truth about the so-called gender wage gap? Well, my friends, I'll let you in on a little secret. Prager University is a source that I use all the time when preparing for my show, the Jason Veely Program. Dennis Prager and his team have put together a remarkable organization that seeks to explain and spread Americanism through the power of the internet. Their short yet extremely informative videos reach more than 100 million people per year, and they want to reach you as well. Go on YouTube and type in Prager University, or go to prageru.com for all of their latest content. That's Prager, the letter U.com. prageru.com.
People all across America are waking up and realizing that fake news isn't helping our nation. People are realizing that they don't deliver the facts, nor do they deliver the truth. The fake news era is coming to an end, and that's exactly why Patriot News Radio was created. On Patriot News Radio, you have a wide selection of conservative talk hosts, including myself, with the Wise Conservative Show. Patriot News Radio streams 24/7 on TuneIn Radio, so you can just go to the app or to the website and stream it. Also, if you have a Google Home device, all you have to do is say, "Hey Google, play Patriot News Radio," and there you have it, Patriot News Radio, right in your own home. Patriot News Radio delivers you the facts and the truth 24/7. Patriot News Radio, where America comes to talk.
And that, class, is why America is the worst country in the history of the world.
Are you sick of your professors telling you lies?
Now remember, children, if you're white, it means you're privileged. Don't ever forget that.
Do you sit through class convinced that your head is going to explode at any given moment? Sounds like you could use some backup. Visit youthrevolt.org for exclusive content produced by young conservatives for young conservatives. Youth Revolt features a dedicated team of radio hosts, political columnists, and video bloggers, all of whom are 100% committed to taking back the future of this country. So what are you waiting for? Tune out your Marxist professor and visit youthrevolt.org now.
A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There are people in this nation that would have you give up your rights, that would have you turn in your guns. We have these people who are in office, we have these people who are marching in our streets, that are walking out of their schools. People who think that your right is not important. On the Wise Conservative Show, we know that your rights matter, and we will tell you the truth about your liberties. We will tell you the truth about all the issues happening and the facts around all of these debates. For your daily dose of conservatism, for your daily dose of the facts and the truth. Tune into the Wise Conservative Show every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on Youth Revolt.
Welcome back to the Wise Conservative Show for this final segment of the night. And guys, I have a comment, more calls from Ocasio-Cortez, of course our favorite candidate running for office and the future of the Democratic Party. Well, Ocasio-Cortez is just getting right into all of the issues and calling for a complete shutdown of the fossil fuel production industry entirely. No complete, shift to anything else that's gradual or anything. She wants to just completely shut down the fossil fuel production industry right away. Now, of course, this comes after a lot of Democrats have called for different plans. Obama called for a plan, and he started implementing it to use both renewable energy sources and fossil fuel sources at the same time. But Ocasio-Cortez doesn't think that's far enough. So now she wants to go no fossil fuel right away, completely shut down the industry, get all those people out of their jobs. Now, I've said this before, and I'm always going to wonder it. I'm going to wonder how she received a degree in economics. Because she thinks that shutting down an entire industry right away is not going to have any economic downfall. She thinks that shutting down this industry right now is going to be a good thing, and that the renewable energy source is good to go right away. Now, when I say renewable energy, there's some differing definitions that people use for it. Basically, what the Democratic Party uses for it are wind and solar sources. And, well, there's a problem with this. And this has been shown throughout a lot of years, and it's exactly why the Obama administration didn't try to do exactly what Ocasio-Cortez is calling for. Because those industries, wind and solar, first off, they're not nearly as effective as other energy sources as we have currently. The technology isn't there to make them as efficient as anything else. And because of that, there's not enough money going towards it from the free market, not enough companies, not enough people supporting those industries. So it's $1 billion for both industries of subsidies from the government just to keep them right now up and running for the little bit that we have. For the little bit of wind and solar power that we use right now, they're taking over $1 billion each in subsidies from the government just to stay running. It's not nearly efficient enough in its current state. I guarantee in the future, at some point, we'll see a shift to completely renewable energy. That's just the way technology will take us. But you can't right now. Well, first off, you can never just completely shut down an industry at one point. That'll have such a horrible effect on the economy that we'll go into another recession or depression. And nobody wants that. But shifting to it in its current state, shifting to these sources, these two different sources, is not, well, it's not able to be done. It's not possible with the state of the industries. They will develop over time, and they will get better, more efficient. Maybe have less environmental factors, because right now the current ones aren't the best in that sort of issue either. So Democrats calling for this, and it's mostly just Ocasio-Cortez calling for this extreme shift, don't understand really what's going on in the entire industry. And you have to look at what's happening, what happened under Obama, what's happening under Trump. You have to really realize how our energy is, where our energy is coming from, how it's actually being supported. You have to realize that California used to have, I believe, 10 nuclear power plants, but now they're down to 4 because they've just shut them off because they don't want to be using them anymore, even though it's one of the most efficient sources that we have for energy in the entire world. No one has a more efficient source of energy than nuclear power plants. And yet California, the liberal heaven, has shut off the majority of theirs. And it shows in California there's always issues with blackouts because they don't have an effective system, and they rely on, for a lot of the power, or for a good amount of the power, they rely on the windmills that are, and the solar panels that are out towards Palm Springs, that aren't nearly as efficient as the nuclear power plants that they've shut off. So I believe that our nation cannot even, whether you believe that it's necessary or not, our nation cannot make that shift right now. Whether Ocasio-Cortez thinks that this is the path that we have to take this instant, all it will result in are more people unemployed, billions of dollars lost, billions of dollars in industry lost. It will result in a complete depression or recession of our economy because of this massive unemployment rate skyrocketing like that. And it'll result in massive power outages because the technologies just aren't there. I didn't think it was possible, but Ocasio-Cortez found yet another area that she's completely and utterly uneducated on, but she's still making comments on it. She really needs to learn not to open her mouth and to maybe become educated on these issues. All right, that's all for today's episode of The Wise Conservative Show. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. You can find the show on Spreaker.com, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and many more places. Go ahead and like The Wise Conservative Show on Facebook. I'd like to once again thank you for tuning in. Pardon me. And as always, God bless.